Good afternoon. A little bit more progress on the truck this week. As you can see, she's in a lot more pieces. Again. I've got the front grille off. This cabin air filter is here. And I've been chasing these electrics back. These went to the blue lights that were on the front grille, there and there. But we're now down to a mess inside the cabin. I can show you all that. All this is still a mess. It's a lot less than it was. These are the ECUs. But I need to get these out now and chase these back to, bear with me, they are around here. Like I've told you before, I think they all went in to there, which is all these inverters, control units. They run under the carb and up through into that panel. Once all these are out, I can then mount, this is only a cab lift pump, which is, it's got this, it's got a dock in it, looks like it docks in there. So up and down without having a hernia. And then it's got a lift, manual lift there as well as a backup, which is nice. So yeah, that should slide in there. And if we have a cutout here for the handle, I don't know yet, that's all by the by. Turn you back round. Been plotting inside. This is the original, can you see that? This is the original front seats from the passenger side. We're just putting it in here to mock up. And they acquired a sofa bed off a free group on Facebook, actually, brand new, had a slight rip in it. It's not the bed we'll be using, but it is the mechanism I wanted to try. It's got it folds and locks, or you pull it back and then it locks upright. So I wanted it for the hinge mechanism to see how we could incorporate that. It's a little bit smaller than I thought we would have in the cab. It's about 1.5 times a single bed width, so between that and a double. Original plan was to have a double, but putting this in, it folds out to around here, and a double would be full width, so we'd have actually no floor space once the double was folded. So we don't know what we're doing with that yet. But also that's, if you can, the screen's gone off. You can see it's a bit shorter. There's a gap here, and same on the other side. So it won't be the bed we're using. It was a freebie just for test purposes. And once I've fabricated everything up, I'll either use the mechanism out of it or copy it and pass it on to someone else, because it's nice to be nice. What else have we been doing? I had a little crawl around under the truck, under there, chasing wires. That was my little reel or short the other day. And we've been thinking about cab length, not cab length, habitation length. So I'll just turn you around here. This is, I don't know if you can see all this. Working out wheel track for single wheel conversion. These are just the scribblings of a madman at the moment. That's a rough guide. I was just showing Liz and Charlie with a chamfer on the box, where you put one on the back for the departure angles. You know, it's a less angle to there. Doesn't matter. Crawl through designs and ideas at the moment as well, which I'm looking at doing that without an accordion boot on, which a lot of current vehicles have. They have like a concertina rubber that, so when the cab twists and the habitation twists, it's still sealed watertight. I don't want that as such if we can help it, because the door on the back of here will be that way, a lot bigger, so the twist will be a lot more at the top, and it'll just tear a boot apart. So I'm thinking of an inflatable inner tube, if you will, a rubber seal, to seal it while we're living in it, passing back and forth. And when it's not that, it'll just be two, can't do it one-handed, two spigots, big and small, overlapping to some extent, to keep the rain out, so there's no rain will fall in between. We'll have rain guards on, and you know, so a different design. It might not work, but it's something I'll need to fabricate in probably cardboard or hardboard on the back of there to get an idea of what we can and can't do with that. It might be an accordion boot or it might be a smaller door, but we don't want that. We want the door to be as tall as possible in the cab, which is almost up that top skid. I can't see. Up to that, yeah, the top skin. That's like a supporting rail, that one. So we can cut a lot of that out, fabricate a framing like I mentioned last week, and we'll take it from there. I've still got the door cards to strip out and the steps to take off. All these are seized on really badly. So they've been soaking in WD-40 every time I come down now, and I'm going to have to get those off next week so I can attack this rust. I mean, this is part of the step, not part of the vehicle, but like I said, there's rust here. Stuff to treat, it's not a problem. We're working out the vehicle track, so we're looking at having the tyres on. They're about 9.5 inch wide, widening the wheels, banding them if you will, to make the wheel wider, to allow us to have a wider tyre going forwards. So we'll then convert these, like I said, take this inner one out, have this one but have it wider, so we've got a better footprint for if we ever are off-road. It won't just cut through into mud. There's benefits of narrow tyres, as Land Rovers have them, and the original ones, and some cars do for cutting through, but on sand and softer surfaces, I think if we have a wider footprint, especially if we air down, it'll give us a better opportunity to float over the top instead of cutting through, because we'll be heavy. We're aiming to keep it under 11 tonnes at the moment. Payload's gross weight is max 15, so still plenty of weight to play with, but 11 tonnes it's more than enough. I'd like to, if I can get it under 10 I will, but twin fuel tanks, 1,000 litres of water, 1,000 litres of fuel is heavy. There's a tonne each there, so we don't know yet. And what else have we been doing? Box. We have been in discussion with some, I'm not sure if they've said we can use their name yet on social media, so I'll keep it quiet, but they're a known box manufacturer over here in the UK. Composite box with an aluminium frame. I'm sure they'll be fine when we mention it, but I'll flash the name up and tag them into the description below as and when we get permission to use them, because you have to ask, don't you? It's not fair to do that if they don't want to. So, but yeah, box has been ordered, we paid a deposit, and construction on that will be starting in, I think they've given us a start date of about the 16th of December. So that's good, which means I've now got to pull my finger out and get this prepped and ready for MOT time, because it's not MOT worthy yet. It needs, when we took it to Atkinson Voss, they gave us a quotation of around, I think, £3,000 worth of work, but that included tyres and all sorts of faff. We need to get a tray on the back for weight testing. You can't just strap a weight load to the chassis anymore, apparently, which is handy. So I'm going to have to fabricate a tray or a frame up. We'll need on the sides here, we'll need between the wheels side underrun protection, so vehicles and people can't get under. We will need a rear underrun bar here, so that'll pop down, and there's you can't just bolt a piece of steel. You have to have it to certain specs. It has to be 550mm off the floor, and it has to be 100mm diameter. This is off the top of my head. I'm sure it'll be different, and I will build it properly before I just go off those figures. So we've got to get all that done. Rear lights to go back on, which we've got over here. I think I've shown you those. There they are there. But they've been sat on the floor for several months in the inclement, lovely English weather. With the last people that had the truck, they weren't stored or put away. They'd just been thrown. So I don't know if the lights work. I might have to buy a new set. We'll fabricate a bracket up there. But we're also having it registered in the UK, which you need the Nova certification for, which we didn't do at the time because we wanted to register it fully as a motorhome before we registered it as a truck. So I spoke to the DVLA at the time, or HMRC, and they said it's supposed to be 14 days within it being in the country. You have to do that, but there was no problem with that, so we just didn't get around to doing it. But now you need a customs agent to do that, to make the notification that it's in the UK. You can't do it yourself online anymore on the government websites, which is annoying because it's just another step of bureaucracy and more expense. Be a few £100 in that, I think, which we can't do anything without it, so we need to do it. It's just niggling, you know. Anyway, that's currently ongoing as well. I'll be chasing that up next week. I've still not got around to prepping the chassis because that has taken me longer than I thought with this big pile of stuff over here. I still can't believe that all this has come out of there. It's a big pile of stuff. I mean, some of it's not being used. These are the old seat backs off the passenger benches. All this cabling is all waste now, scrap if you will. That needs to go with the templates. But this is all like the dashboard trim. All this is going to be cleaned up. It's all. I mean, this doesn't need to go back on. That was on the bulkhead, and it's broken anyway, so that's redundant. But a lot of it is going to be reused, so it all needs a clean up. It's got 20 years worth of grime in here, you know, manky old stuff. And then we need to think about what we're going to do with it colour wise. It might polish up nice enough to be just I'll just put this on here, it's my template pile. It might polish up nice enough, but we are thinking maybe paint it just to make it a bit more pretty in the cab. This is the cab engine cowl, if you will. It goes over, it sits that way. This is the driver's side on the left, so these are your switch controls. Gear stick was here, handbrake. But if you look, can you see all that? It's really, really brittle. And even just moving it's cracked really badly in lots of places. There's a big split down here. Let me see that. So I'm really annoyed about that because you hear the crunching noises there and you see all the splits in it. So I've had a quick look and I don't know if they're available to buy, like new old stock. I don't want to buy a 20-year-old one really, because we'll have the same problem. So my current thought is clean it all up, you know, get it so it's surface prepped. Maybe epoxy and fiberglass on top of that, just so it holds its shape, and then we'll carpet on top to make it look nicer. And carpet's nice in the cab anyway. We'll keep the floors clear on rubber, but stuff like that will be, I'm thinking carpet, just so it's a bit nicer and it'll cover up any crimes I commit with the epoxy and fiberglass. Even if it's sanded all back, it's never going to be a pretty finish, so like a 4-way stretch carpet. And other than that, I don't think there's been much else this week. Wandering around like I'm just banging into things because I've still got no plan with my YouTube videos. Found the pin in here. This is for front towing eye, or front towing hitch behind the number plate, which is handy. But all these bolts are seized as well. Well, some of them, sorry, not all, because I've got some out. I want to get the bumper off, so you can see all the WD-40 marks in here, because I want to get all that off just to get behind it and have a look, and then speak to fabricators and have a new bumper made. A winch would be nice. I think we can mount a winch on this plate here. This step will come off because that's just going to dig into things if we're off-road anywhere. It's only a step for cleaning the windscreen and things, which we've got ladders for anyway. But if we could have a winch mounted around here somewhere, that'd be wonderful. For self-recovery and because they look cool. And that's what you bolt stuff to an Overland truck for, isn't it? It's all about the looks, really. But anyway, these need to come off, so get all that light assembly out. Have a chunkier bumper made, get that all painted up nicely. And while we're in the mood, the sunblind will come off, and get all this rust treated on this windscreen here. I thought it was bonded in, which is not. It looks like it's on the rubber seal, so you peel the seal back and get the windscreen out, which there's a high chance I'll break the windscreen if I do that, but we need to get it out anyway to treat all that rust up, because it can't just carry on like that. And then if we strip all the doors back for painting as well, all the mirrors, get all the about 4 billion spiders living in this vehicle at the moment, which is terrible for an arachnophobic like me. But we'll get it all cleaned up and maybe get the cab prepped and painted as well while we're in the mood. I was thinking about doing it all with the box, get everything done in one hit, but it will just be a job less to do. Take all the trim off and maybe new door seals as well. But there's prep work and all, so we're nowhere near painting yet, but I was thinking about getting it done before we got the box together if we have time. We might not do eventually. It's 2.5 months off the build slot. We'll see. I'm just, everything's up in the air still. There's no real major plan at the moment. So, yeah, we'll see. I think I've got some other videos I might splice in here and there. I can't remember what I filmed this week really. Not much, and a lot of it's probably useless. Hopefully none of it cuts off like some of the other videos I've put out recently. I'll just climb up in here. I've taken all the lights out. I don't know if you can see all that. There's all holes in the roof now where the old lights, and that was a blue light, that was an aerial searchlight. So they all need patching and filling as well. Still unsure what to do with this. This is sorry, tripping over everything. Can we lift it up one-handed? Yeah, goes up like that. It's nice to have a hatch in to get in and out, but we might put aircon in like we say. And then we can insulate all in here as well. It's had, if you look at the foam you might have seen over there in the pile of crap, it had polystyrene, you can see the pattern on it, was just stuck to the roof, but there's been nothing in the sides. I'm guessing that was just for sun protection. It wasn't really insulated for winter use, even though the vehicle was rated down to -40 apparently according to the antifreeze. The light on the chair, it's terrible lighting, sorry. So yeah, fully insulated in here, sound dead and everything because it's all tinny, even though on top of there is checker plate, which is helpful for standing on, especially when it's taking all the stuff off the top of there. Climb down and make everybody seasick. Sorry about that. So I think that's where we're at this week. I'm not looking forward to prepping the chassis. I bought wire wheels for like a 4.5-inch angle grinder, you know, the spinny cup things. I think I might have to get a needle gun and compressor to suit, but with a big tank on. I've got a little, it's a 24 litre tank in there. I don't think it's enough to run a needle gun consistently. I didn't want to, it's more expense, but I think if I'm burning my way through wire wheels and spending weeks cleaning the chassis, or I get a needle gun in and spend a couple of days doing it, cost benefit offset is probably similar, so don't know about that yet. I think I've decided, depending on price, that we'll change the leaf packs as well. They're 20 odd years old. We're going to change the shocks anyway, kind of. Yeah, there and there. Shocks front and rear anyway, so while I'm taking all the wheels off to have them rebanded for widening, new tyres, I might as well take the leaf packs out, and because they're very scabby. I missed that. It's I don't know. That one, yeah, they're 20 years old. New suspension would be nice. I don't know. We'll see. I'm still looking at, you get airbags as well for support and squishiness and adjustable height when we're parked up. That was put on there. That's not going to be the height of the subframe, but that's I'll put that on there just for when we're measuring all that on the board over there. It was just Liz and Charlie were here before. I was just helping visualise things because it's
we're in two minds of whether to go for a 6 metre box, which from the back of the cab will be to roughly here. Well, it might be further out actually by the time we've got a gap in between the two for crawl through. Or we can go up to 6.5, I think. I've got it written down somewhere. We're allowed a 3.1 metre overhang, I think it is. It says on the board over here. Well, 3090 is the overhang. The only thing is, it'll make it quite long over the rear, which it gives you a lot of living space, another 600 or 700 mils on that, so it's basically through that wall. It's a lot more living space, but it might also just look ridiculous and arse heavy, if you will, especially if we've then got a motorbike carrier on the back. It'll be very bouncy. Well, I mean, aesthetics aren't everything. Obviously, you want it's form versus function, but it's got to look right as well to some extent. So we were thinking about shortening the box, which we may even then be able to shorten the chassis if we're putting a chamfer on it, which will also increase our departure angle quite drastically, which is never a bad thing. Because with a carrier on the back as well, like I say, it'll look long. And the original thought was to put, I've got a pen, spare wheels on the back, and then a motorbike as well. Which, that's a terrible motorbike. You get the gist. But then that distance there is going to be quite long. You're looking at 3+ feet or something like that. So it's further still. We'll have a vehicle that's going to be, drop pen lid, sorry. The vehicle will be nearly 35 feet long at that. So to mitigate that to some extent, we're now thinking of fabricating a frame in here and mounting the spares under here, fairly tight up to these brackets on the springs. So I'll do some measuring. It's a lot of measuring, a lot of thinking, but if we can do that without compromising our departure angle, if the wheels won't clash with that, then it keeps the weight lower down, it'll keep the length shorter, they'll be easy to get off without having them, I don't know what, 9-10 feet up. Easier to access if we do need spare wheels. I didn't want them under here like you see on some vehicles. I think DAFs have them on, I don't know which side it is. They're on an angle, if you will, on a bracket, which is very practical, very useful, but I want the locker space down here, because if we have another fuel tank out to here, then we'd have to have a wheel this side and a wheel that side. We'd lose all that locker space, which I don't know how much locker space we'll need, but it's nice having storage for outside gear, grimy bits, wetsuits, whatever, cookers on the back, all your recovery gear, oils, all sorts of stuff. It's all still up in the air. I just don't know yet. We're kind of solving problems as we come to them with no set plan, because plans are always evolving, especially on something like this, a bespoke build on a vehicle that, windows open, that no one has ever built before. I don't think I've seen a double cab Tego like this, so there's no frame of reference for this vehicle. It's a long cab and it's a long chassis. So we did some math. Inside the cab itself, there is an idea of reference from the bottom of the windscreen there to the back wall, the stays, there is 3 meters, which is it's a ridiculous size. Volume of the cab is 9 meters cubed, roughly. It's 1.5 meters high, 2 meters wide inside, and 3 meters long. So it's a ridiculous size. It's a silly vehicle, and it is going to limit us to some places we can go. But we'd rather have the living room. The space. It's our full-time house, so more room the better, I think. Anyway, I think I've waffled enough. This is we're coming up for 25 minutes now, so I don't know how long it's going to be then with adding other footage in and photo. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. I've just downloaded DaVinci Resolve because I was editing this on the Insta360 app because that's the camera that I'm filming this on. But it's not a good app. I'm no video editor by any means, but it's not a good app. So I thought let's try other things, this, then that and the other. I'll just go for DaVinci and accept the learning curve on that. So we'll see how this turns out. Anyway, that's it. So I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.